Well, there we go. We are back. This is the DCUK podcast. This is season 6. It is episode 5. This is technically the second take of this one. Um, Last week, myself, and a little known person who you all know as Stu, you'll see often in the chat. We actually got together virtually. I mean, we could just meet up face to face, but we did kind of a pilot episode, I want to say. And we looked through it. It was good. Annoyingly, I just ran out of time to get the episode out because we had the midweek game against Montreal. And, I just left it too little too late. So it is what it is. There are some great clips on there, which I am going to share eventually. Um, I've started looking at that. And now that I've got a bit more time. But yeah, this is back. It's been too long. It's great to finally be here, back in the chair with the jerseys behind me, wearing the merch, and being in front of all you guys. It's fantastic. So if you're watching this live, please do hit up the chat. Send us greetings. It's lovely to be here. And if you do have any questions or anything like that, please do let me know and I'll answer them later on in the show. But that leads me on to nicely what is coming up on today's show. So we've got some news. I mean, you'd think it'd be a few bits of news in the last 2 months since I last did an episode, but we're going to be looking at maybe the last couple of weeks. We're going to be having a look at the game at the weekend, which I did stay up to watch, and it was a phenomenal game. We've suddenly got a thumbs up on screen because Apple, thank you, Mac. That was interesting. Let's do that again. Thumbs up. Hey. And you know what? We're going to just be talking about the game, talking about how exciting that was. We have an international break right now, so we don't have a game to preview. We can talk briefly about what that next game is going to be, but in terms of a proper preview, that'll come later on. And yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. It's not going to be a long one. We're just going to keep it nice and short and sweet, but we're going to crack on. And the first thing that we are going to do is actually another word from the show sponsor. Are you eager to fuel the growth of soccer in the US while showcasing your passion for the sport? Well, look no further than Pitch Invaders, the ultimate online apparel destination tailored for the soccer community. Based in Arlington, Virginia, Pitch Invaders offers a dynamic range of casual and athletic gear designed to let you express your love for both the game on and off the pitch. But Pitch Invaders isn't just about trendy merch, it's a movement. They proudly partner with local soccer clubs and associations, actively contributing to the growth and expansion of the sport across the US. Community is at the heart of everything they do. As a special treat for our podcast listeners, use code DCUK for an exclusive 15% discount on all purchases at pitchinvadersusa.com. By supporting Pitch Invaders, you're not just showing your love for the soccer, you're also backing a brand committed to fostering community and making a difference in the sport. Don't miss out on this opportunity to rep your love for the soccer, support the community, and look absolutely fantastic while doing it. Visit pitchinvadersusa.com today and join us in proclaiming that the pitch is for the people. Yeah, Pitch Invaders, really cool brands. I do actually have some of their merch as well. I'm unfortunately not wearing it today because it's in the wash. But it is really nice material, and definitely go check it out. The link is in the description, and as mentioned, you do get a 15% discount just by using the code DCUK. So please do head over there. So yeah, should we crack on with a wee bit of news? So you might be wondering, where the heck have I been? And if you don't know, well, I'm about to tell you. So the last episode was a little while ago. And I do apologize. It's been a bit of a whirlwind of a couple of months. So back in March, so yeah, the last episode, sorry, was the 7th of March. Then a few weeks later, my second son was born. So yeah, we had that to happen, and having two kids is a little bit trickier than just having the one kid. And Stu, hello, sir. Um, just so you know, Stu, I'll be sharing the clips that we did from our sort of pilot episode that we did last week. So don't worry, I'm not. We're not having anything go away from that. We are going to be using it. Yes. Anyway, yeah, I have had my second child, and it's been a bit of an adjustment. It means that trying to find the time to be able to actually come on and do this, and actually just write up some show notes as well. It's a lot trickier than I was expecting. I was hoping it wouldn't have been that much of adjustment, but it really is. We've got the child, new child, but we've also got a puppy as well. I say a puppy, he's pretty much now adult age, but we've had him for it'll be almost a year now. So having my eldest, who's 4 years old, having the dog, and having the baby, it's just been a bit mad. So it's been a long time coming. It's been that adjustment period, but I think we're there, and I've got to thank my wife for that. She's been like, "Why aren't you doing your podcast?" Trying to get me, trying to kick me out of the house. I think, you know, the cheek. Uh, get me back into my amazing office that I have here. I love my setup, and I've wanted to be using this a lot more often. And I've also had a new job recently as well, and had a promotion just before went on paternity leave. So yeah, it has been a bit of a crazy couple of months, and I'm just glad I am back here, and it's lovely to be back behind the mic and actually do this again. Um, so hopefully we'll get back to you doing the sort of things like the watch alongs, which we started doing at the start of the year, when we had the Revs, we had Portland, and then we had Inter Miami. That Inter Miami stream was incredible. And I think it's up to around 2,500 views, which just unbelievable. I didn't think I thought maybe it's a few hundred, maybe it's 500-600 based on the previous matches, but to get over 2,500, it's just like, whoa, what the hell? That was mad. But yes, Stu, she definitely wants me in the DCU cave, and we do need to get some extra lighting and stuff sorted out behind me, and what because there's a certain ambiance in this arena. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening, you're probably thinking, I can't see it. What the hell are you talking about? Just crack on. But yes, we need to get some lighting. And if you're not watching this and you've never watched it, get on YouTube and watch this podcast because you get to see my lovely face. Yeah, that's basically where I've been. Probably want to put something up there, maybe on that door. Maybe I could move maybe a couple of shirts over, a shirt or two on the door. Probably the one because it's not the widest of doors. Yeah, we could. I think we could spruce it up a little bit, make it a little bit better. But also that shirt there, I've got the new one. It's really, I love the new jersey. It's really good. Very nice patterns of it and very well designed. So I'm happy I've got that. Yeah, actual news, well, club related news in the last couple of weeks. Of our former head coach and former player Wayne Rooney is now taking over at Plymouth Argyle. An interesting choice of club he's gone for. They narrowly avoided relegation at the end of the last season, finishing one place above his previous club of Birmingham City, who he took from the playoffs all the way down. And they ended obviously sacking him after 83 days, I think it was. And yeah, that was not a good time for good old Wazza. He's taken some time out. He's done some punditry. He's done things like that. And he's come across rather well. I think he's now doing the Overlap podcast, the one with Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, who else is on that? Ian Wright, and Roy Keane. I don't think. What's her face? Jill Scott, the former England player, women's player. So he's now a part of that. So it'd be interesting to see how that he ties that in whilst being a manager. But yes, he's now manager of Plymouth Argyle. And if you don't know where that is, I'm gonna just to kind of give you in a bit of context. I mean, when you think about it, if you're from America, you probably think it's not that far. But let me just add this up on screen so you lovely folks who are watching can see it. Maps. There we go. Here we are. Show on stream. Bish bash bosh. So yeah. So Manchester, and Liverpool is all the way up here. And just kind of give it context, we're looking at around over here. Plymouth is down here. So he's going from here all the way down to here. Now, in terms of driving, if we're going to say the Liverpool area, directions to Plymouth, it's a long drive, 5 hours and 18 minutes. He really didn't want to be staying that close to the Merseyside area. And even if you think about Manchester, it's probably not going to be that dissimilar. Yeah, he didn't want to stay close to home. I think that's as far away he can go away from home and still managing in the UK. I don't think you could get that much further. So, but good luck to the guy. I'm massively surprised that he's taken a job like that, a smallish club like Plymouth. Or maybe he just wants to have that little bit of time out of the direct limelight to potentially hone his skills. And if that is the case, then I do have a little bit of respect. But I'm not sure, based on previous history, shall we say. But like I say, if he's gone there just to hone his skills and become a better manager, then fair play to him. Chris McVeigh, who missed last week's match against Montreal, and then at the weekend against Toronto. He's out for anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks, and that is a massive shame. Stu's, when we were doing our sort of pilot episode last week, is a big fan of Chris McVeigh, and very disappointed that he's out injured. It means we are really struggling at the back, and after the weekend's game, the Birnbaum might well be injured. That, granted, we've got the international break, so we've got a bit of time to recover from that. We've got an increasingly big-sized injury list, which is not good, especially in a particular position in defense. Yeah, could do without that. Pedro Santos made his return, so that's always a good thing. We needed someone on that left side. Speaking of left side, Mohamed Jeze, last week, some point, days merge into one these days, has been released. He has had a bit of a, he had a bit of a, how can I phrase this politely? A troublesome stint, I think is what I used on the DCUK website. Joining in 2022, only made 7 appearances, 366 minutes. Really not a huge amount of game time. We've paid way too much for him, but we have exercised that option to get him off the salary and actually be able to bring someone in and, hopefully provide some actual cover. Weird, he hasn't been injured at all this year. He's come back, but evidently he's him and the Saint have just not got on for whatever reason, whether that's he's not Jason's not bought into the system, or past history has meant that he just didn't want him around the club. But yeah, he's just not been around. So now he's no longer with the club, and we don't have to worry about him anymore. And Stu, dare we say Birnbaum being injured is a good thing? We'll talk about that later. I'm going to cover off the questions that we did get through last week. And like I said, if you've got any new questions for this week, please let us know. And whilst I'll take a quick drink, I've got to bring my water with me, so I got beer. Good times. Right. So Jay's out. There's a new team on the block in the DC area called DC Power. And they're going to be playing in the USL Super League, which is the Women's Pro League. It's a women's version of the USL Championship. Obviously run by the same association, United Soccer League. And yeah, there's a lot of fixtures. When we were talking about it last week, me and Stu, there was only a handful of fixtures, i.e. 3 that were announced, but now the full fixture list has been finally announced. So we've got more than 3. And yeah, we've got, let's have a look, DC Power. And they're going to be playing at Audi Field as well. So they're going to be sharing our stadium. Their first game at home is not until Friday, September the 13th. So a good old Friday the 13th game, when they will be facing Fort Lauderdale United, also known as Inter Miami, if you understand that joke. Then it's not until another couple of weeks later, September 29th, when we're at home to Spokane Zephyr FC, followed by a game against Tampa Bay Sun. And then we have 4 home games on the bounce. Spirit need their own stadium. I mean, I don't mind them sharing Audi Field because I think they're worthy of sharing the size stadium that we have. But they do deserve to have their own stadium. American football destroys the field for already a year. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I'm sure I heard that Audi Field's going to get an upgraded pitch soon during this international break, where it's going to be a hybrid pitch of actual grass and fake grass. Love to know if that's actually a genuine thing, but we'll see. DC Power, 4 home games on the bounce between October and November. And then the final fixtures on December 14th against Lexington away. So it's nice to see that league is now looking a lot better. There's actual proper fixtures. It'll be interesting to see how we do. It's weird that we're a couple of months out from it. I don't really know a huge amount about the team. Yeah, we'll see what the next couple of months brings, and if and how much press there is about it as well. Because obviously you've got the NWSL, which does get a lot of press, as mentioned. Washington Spirit do play games at Audi Field, and they've got some massive players like Trinity Rodman, and etc. etc. I mean, Trinity Rodman's the main one that I know anyway. I feel like I should follow Spirit a little bit closer, being a DC team, and women's soccer in general. I feel like I should. It's just getting the time. As mentioned at the start of the show, having 2 kids and trying to adjust and take everything in has been a bit difficult, to the point where when I've wanted to watch the games, because of the adjustments and getting used to the potential of children waking up in the middle of the night. I've not actually been watching my games in here, so I've not been able to shout. Apart from the weekend just gone, that was my first full game back here in my office since my new son was born, and that was beautiful, and I'm really looking forward to talking about that. So yeah, so we've got DC Power, and then recently we've had the Championship playoffs in England, in the Football League, the EFL Championship, League One, League Two. As we know, Matthijs Klick, former Leeds United player, still has a big link to the club. He's a cult hero amongst Leeds fans, and he was actually spotted with Steve Birnbaum at a local bar watching the Championship playoff final, and it was interesting to see that. And I know Klick is very big with interacting and engaging with fans. I know he engages with me on Twitter um, very much, actually quite a lot. Anything that's I didn't even have to tag him. It's just if I mention his name, he'll go there and like it, and just he's just a bit of a good guy, really, and it's nice to have that. And we see on the pitch, and we'll talk about his antics against Toronto when he was given the captain's armband. Yeah, really, really pleased with how he's taken to the club and how he's embedded himself within the community as well. On top of that, NBA player Jeremy Grant has joined the club's ownership group as well. He went on to say, upon joining the group, I'm honored to be joining the DC United ownership group, having grown up in the DMV. Washington, D.C. holds a special place in my heart, and I'm proud to invest in the community that's played a significant role in shaping who I am today. DC United's ownership group has shown impressive growth over the years, extending their influence beyond sports into the realms of music and arts, which is something I deeply respect. The club's commitment to social responsibility is admirable, and I'm eager to contribute in a meaningful way by giving back to the community. I strongly believe in the power of sports to bring people together, and as a pro athlete and owner, I'm dedicated to making a positive impact in the DMV region through empowerment, providing opportunities, and service. It was a bit of a mouthful for someone joining the ownership group. We've seen a few new people joining the ownership group over the last 12, 18, 24 months. And it's interesting to see why that's happening and actually what the fruits of that is going to be, how much investment is going to be made directly into the team, and how much we're going to see on that. We've got a good GM now in Andy Mackay. We've got a good head coach in Troy Desane. We're starting to see some fruits of that work that they've been doing in terms of identity, bringing in a certain type of player. We've seen some really good hits with the players that we've brought in, like Baltola, who's currently on international duty, with Finland as a young DP, McVeigh, Jared Stroud, Aaron Herrera, just name a few of the players that we've brought in who've been fantastic for us so far. And it's really good to see. And I'm happy how we've done so far in the transfer market since they've come in. We've obviously got this summer window upon us. And it'll be interesting to see how we tackle that. We've obviously got 3 DPs slots already being used. Are we going to see someone potentially bought down so we can bring in another player? Are we going to bring in some other U22 players in because we signed Parani on a permanent deal in the off season? We've got the slots there. We need to use them. We need some depth. And it's a good opportunity to bring some quality depth to the team there. So fingers crossed we'll get to see some movement on that. Rumor has it we are after an Austrian international. I say Austrian international. He's only played one time, and I can't remember his name. Rumor, David Schnegg. That is the current current rumor, and he's gone to transfer market. He's worth 1.5 million euros. It has gone down recently since the start of the year in terms of his value. But you know what? He's played 28 times this in the league. He's made 38 appearances overall. He's got European experience at club level. Poltola got assist against Portugal. What? Hold up. He did not get an assist. For Timu Puki. Oh, what a lad. What a lad. Good on him. If he got an assist, fair play. I'm pleased for him if he's done that. Oh, good guy. Thank you, Victor, for sharing that information. So yeah, David Schneig played plenty of times last season, played Champions League qualifier, Conference League, and Europa League, and many times in the normal Austrian Bundesliga. He made 4 assists and scored once last season. So, not bad for a left back. Let's see if that comes to fruition, if that is an actual proper rumor. It's gone quiet. Last time anything was heard was around May 22nd, so a couple of weeks ago now. We'll see. But I think it's definitely something that we need to address, that position. We need some good cover with Connor Antley out. Obviously, McVeigh being out for a little bit of time. Pedro Santos is getting older, so he can't really have a good run. But when he does, he's actually pretty decent. So yeah, interesting to see how we get on with that one. And it'll be interesting to see who you think we should bring in. Do we need to bring in a left back? Do we need to bring in centre backs? Do we need to bring in midfielders, forwards? I mean, for me, left back and a striker. We've got Benteke, we've got Murrell, but we don't really have another proper striker. We don't have a third. So we've been trying to put Ted Pietro up there, who I'll mention it later, but I know he scored against Toronto, but overall he's not been as good as what I'd expect him to be so far this year. I know that's controversial, and I'll probably get pitchforks. He's one of our own. Why are you dissing him? But I'd expect more from Ted. And it's good to have those expectations, those high expectations. But yeah, he's just not really done it this year so far. Cool. That's it for the news. I hope you enjoyed it. You now know where I've been. We've had a little bit of club news there and a little bit of other news. So yeah, that's the end of that. We're going to move to a match review of the Toronto game. So we'll be right back. So yeah, we're back. Very quick. Just need to also have a quick drink there. Yeah, Toronto game. What a game that was. When we compared it to how we had the previous game against Chicago, we had Chicago and Montreal recently. Both very disappointing. I didn't watch the Montreal game, only caught the highlights in that one. Watched the Chicago game, and that was just disappointment all over. I was not happy with that one at all. Don't know why I stayed up. I was falling asleep in the second half. I was sat here, not here, but sat on my sofa in my living room, just eyes drooping, trying to stay awake. But yeah, Toronto, much better. Really great to see the fight back from the team. Just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. What an end to that game. And I'm going to bring up the stats shortly, but yeah, we had Ted Pietro score in this game. We had Mateusz Klick scoring this game. Finally, we've got two players who've now scored three in total, if we include Benteke, who've scored more than one. Finally, it's been a long time coming. Toronto ended up with 9 men at the end, which, when I looked at the stats of the cautions and the sending-offs, I was shocked by the level more than anything. And then, just absolutely crazy. We had the disallowed goal at the end, which was incredibly unfortunate. If Bartlett, I know the commentators were saying if Bartlett just left it, he would have got through to Stroud and we probably would have scored from there. My only concern with them saying that was, if he'd left it, was he interfering with play? Which, in my eyes, yes, he would have been interfering. So for me, that would have been offside. Whether that's still viable under the current offside rules, who the hell knows? They keep changing it season on season, so difficult to keep up with it. But yeah, we were very unfortunate. I was watching it, and Stu will absolutely back me up on this one. Actually, no, it wasn't for that one, but I did send a little video note to the guys of me just going a bit mad in my office. And yeah, after that disallowed goal went in, I was running around here, just like, because it was like 97th, 98th minute. And it felt like we were doing it again against Toronto after the 2023 season where Ted Kupietro scored a last-minute winner. And yeah, I felt like we were going to repeat there, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. It was offside, and it was the correct decision, annoyingly. I think the refs in this game were actually all right. I don't think there was too much wrong, which is really weird to say for an MLS refereeing team. They were actually all right. I don't really remember a really bad decision either way, and yeah, I was quite happy about that. Can't argue with it. So I've got my thing up and mild reaction, no emotion at all. Yeah, I mean, I was like, yay, we scored. No, I went absolutely mad. Maybe I will share it at some point. If you're a DCUK member, I'll share it in our little private group over on Twitter. And that's a good time to say, if you're not a member, there's links in the description. Go over, become a member. It's completely free to do so. You come into our chat group. It's great. We've had a nice little influx of some members from this side of the pond joining recently, which has grown the contingent very nicely. And yeah, people from all over. And it's a lovely place to be. Very chatty bunch. Really love it on game days. Yeah, absolutely great place to be. So let me bring it up on stream. Here we go. So yeah, going to do a bit more of this. I think it's a really good thing to do, to be able to do for you guys at home who are watching. I should be able to see an overview of the game as well. So yeah, it's Ted Kupietro scored in the 79th minute, Klick in the 95th. Derek Etienne Jr., who former New Jersey Pink Cow player, scored in after 90 seconds. That was frustrating, to say the least. And then Bernadeschi, who scored a lovely goal. Garrison Tubbs being pulled out of position, left a wide open gap, and it was fed through to him. And all he had to do was just took it away. Could Birnbaum have done a bit better in closing them down? He tried to cover the far post with his positioning, from what I could tell. And yeah, that was not the right thing to be doing with that. So yeah. But you know what? We brought it back. It was great. And when we look at the stats here, so 56.2 to 43.8% possession, 20 shots to Toronto's 10, We had 8 on target to their 3, 7 to 6 blocked. Crosses wise, 13 to 4. So you can tell we do like to pump the ball into the box. We have a Benteke. We're going to try and take advantage of that. Absolutely. Aerial duels one. We're outclassed in this particular segment, which is an unusual stat for us. But Benteke did go off in the sort of the 62nd, 63rd minute, I think it was, with a mild muscular injury, which is thought to not be actually serious. It's more of a precaution. Expected goals, a massive stat, 3.4 to 1.1. And we'll bring it up on another screen very shortly. But we are, in terms of the league, leading in the expected goals table with 35.51. Depending on where you look, that will actually change. But this is on MLSsoccer.com. And then when you compare that against how many goals we've scored, we've actually scored 25. So we're actually 10 goals behind where we are. We're 10 and a half goals, so round up to 11, where we should be. You don't win leagues on expected goals, but it's a good indicator of where we are. And that just goes to show that we are relying too much on Benteke and not actually getting the right service into our other players. Saves wise, we conceded 2, but they had 3 on target. Oh yeah, Bartlett saved 1. Goalkeeper saves of 6 to 0. Clearances, you look at that, 20 clearances for Toronto versus our 5. Fouls, even a piece. But then you look at the yellow cards and the red cards, so 7 yellows, of which 2 of those 7 yellow cards, they were turned into reds. So Bernardeschi sent off. His second yellow card was for a very silly thing, kicking the ball away. Should know better than that. And yeah, ref had no choice but to give him his second yellow card, and that was him sent off. And then Gomez was sent off for a foul, which led to the penalty that Click scored in added time. Some people could see this as one being a bit harsh in terms of the actual decision to give a penalty, but it went to VAR, and his hands were all over him. It was like he was wrestling him to the ground a little bit. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but his hands were on him. He wasn't really going for the ball. Granted, Tubbs wasn't really going to get to the ball, but you don't do that in the box. He made the ref make a decision, which is always going to lead to trouble. And yet the penalty was given. And this bit, and the 5-minute intervals here, is something that struck me a little bit. And the 5-minute intervals, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and slightly 5 out of the 90 advertised minutes here in Toronto's favor. And then you look at that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to DC. I was surprised that we were actually dominated that much. I was pleasantly surprised, especially at the start of the second half. But we came out and we looked like we wanted to turn this game around. So I'm not going to argue at all with that. Being 2-0 down at halftime and then bringing it back to a point. It would be nice if we knew it sooner than the 95th minute. But you could tell that the team were really going for it and showing a lot of fight and a lot of grit to get back into this game. So yeah, those are the stats for this game. Like I said, it was a great game to watch. Ted Pietro scored. Really good to see him actually chasing the rebounds and actually tapping that one in. Definitely not seen that enough of him this year. He's been the type of player for me so far where he's good when he's got the ball at his feet and he drives up players. But so far this year, that's really what we've seen of him. We haven't seen that much else. The going around a player or his shooting has been really poor, and I'm not happy about that in any way, shape, or form. So if I look at the player stats and look at the attacking stats for DC United and look at the expected goals for Ted Pietro, he's supposed to have scored almost 5 goals so far this year, and he scored 2. And he's not made a single assist yet. For someone who's supposed to be this hot prospect who's getting plenty of game time, he's just not providing or really scoring at a rate we would expect from someone who's playing as a second striker. So that is most likely down to the fact that he's playing out of position. He's not playing in the right place for us to really be taking advantage of his skills. But yeah, so you could blame that on the coach for playing him out of position. But also there is that responsibility on Ted to really be putting those opportunities away. He's had, off the top of my head, 2 clear opportunities where he's just, when he's hit it, they've just been very tame. So I think there was one particular effort in this game, and game against Toronto as well, in the first half. Pretty sure that when we were 1-0 down. So, I think we should expect more from Ted, and we should be getting more out of him. But otherwise, pleasantly surprised by a few other players as well. So clicks onto Ted's on 2. Bartlett is on 1. He's supposed to have scored 2 so far this season, apparently. Dahome gets a lot of stick, but he really has been playing out of position. He's not a left back or a left wing back. He's an attacker. And when he is actually up top, he looks dangerous and provides a little bit of spark. And the goal he scored was a pretty good goal. Fletcher, not really made too many minutes so far this season. Only played 206 overall. McVeigh, we've been loving him. Absolute great signing. Potentially one of the signings of the season, along with Jared Stroud. And then you got Murrell, who I want to see more game time for him. I've been joining the centre back as a striker tactic, with Lucas Bartlett up top. That was fun at the weekend, seeing him up top. I have to say, that was a lot of fun. Interesting in his movements. You could tell he's a centre back. You could tell that. I would love to see Murrell up top a bit more. We saw him start a couple of games, and the first start that he made, he was getting into really good positions, got plenty of shots off, and it seemed like, he's onto something. Then in the following game he starts and he gets a goal, and then he's back on the bench. That to me was a bit of a kick in the stomach, that one, to see him on the bench. I was hoping to see him start more, and I hope he does. And he's a local lad, and I think he deserves it with the time that he's been on the pitch. He's looked good for me. He's passing the eye test. Pirani, again, a lot of stick for him. He's not done all that bad. He scored 1. He's made an assist. I think, again, a bit more time, he could become a real good player. He's only into his second stint with the club after the loan spell at the end of last year. So he's not really been with the team that long. And there's been a lot of change in that time as well. Initially brought in under a different head coach, then the Saints come in, different style of play. Yeah, he's going to have a difficult adjustment period to that. And he's got the expectation of being a U22 player, and he was signed on a permanent basis after a loan deal. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of expectation on his shoulders, and I think we've seen that come out where he might be struggling with that. I said Jared Strauss been great for us. Akamboni's just returned from his loan deal and made an appearance at the weekend. Connor Antley looked good in his time, but now he's out for the season. But another player who's been fantastic has been Aaron Herrera. Absolutely brilliant. Really good. Love his play on the right-hand side. He's made 6 assists so far this season. If I can actually get that particular stat up, where is it? Assists. There we go. So yeah, Jared Stroud is leading the way with assists, then Click, and then Herrera. And yeah, Stroud and Herrera, brand new signings. Between them, they've made 14 assists, and it's all down the right hand side. I think you can see where our strength is. It's been brilliant. So yeah, that is Toronto, and a bit of a chat about our recent transfers and who has been impressing me so far this season. We are midway through now, through the league, and it might be a good actual opportunity to talk about how I'm feeling about how we're doing so far this season. We've played 17 games, and it's actually one of the questions that was sent in last week for the episode that we should have done and should have released, but didn't get time to do. And it was actually a question from Heather, who is a DCUK member, and she was asking, does it seem that the season is going as planned or expected? And do we think Troy's plan is working and getting the results? From the previous game after Chicago, it was mentioned to her that is it time to sack the coach yet? But way too soon. So when we look at the season so far, then I would say we should compare it to last season. Granted, I'm only looking at the overall for the last season, but you kind of get a good gauge. So last year, we finished on 40 points with an average of 1.18 goals a game, and we finished scoring 45 goals and conceded 49. And if am I able to get club stats for 2023 attacking wise, do we have expected goals? No, they didn't track that last season. That's a shame. I'd have been good to have seen what that would have looked like for last year. But so far this year, we are currently on 19 points at an average of 1.12. So we're actually, points per game wise, a little bit behind, which surprised me because we've been enjoying what we've had so far. So we're not far off. We're there or thereabouts with where we were last season, but we feel a lot happier right now. We can see that there's definite progress being made. We've got new GM, new head coach. It feels like we've come down this long straight road of just the same thing happening over and over again. Not particularly great football, bad decisions made in terms of head coaches and staff and players. And it now seems to be we've got to the end of this straight road and we're on the corner. We're going around the corner and we're seeing starting to see this new landscape and this new Ali Mackay and Lassane landscape, and the grass looks a lot greener and things are looking brighter. There's some sunshine there. And I'm happy with the sunshine. Goals scored. We've scored 25 so far this season and conceded 31. So if we doubled that, we'll have been on 50 and 62, which is a lot bigger numbers than last season. A lot more goals, a lot more entertainment. And that's what we wanted. We watch this game to be entertained. We don't want to see drab nils. Nobody wants that. you just get turned off. But we're here for the entertainment, and you know what? I've enjoyed watching us this season. Apart from the games against like Montreal and Chicago, I think the Chicago game was just boring as hell. Other than that, so far this season, it's been thoroughly enjoyable. It's been nice to be able to come to a Saturday night and be up at like 12:30 for the kickoff or whenever it actually kicks off, and go, you know what, I'm actually looking forward to this game. Not where last year I'm like, oh, here we go. This is gonna be a tough game to watch. We're probably not gonna win. And I know I was speaking with Stu about this. We've now come into this year, and we get to before kick, we're like, we've got a chance here. We could actually win this game, and we're feeling like that going into most games, even against Inter Miami. After we played against them in the first game of the season, we could see where we were wanting to, exploit them, and actually we nearly did it. And then when we played them away, we were almost there. We kept them quiet for so long. It's difficult to keep Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Alba, and co quiet for an entire match. It was going to be incredibly difficult, but we almost did it. And when you look at how they're doing so far this season, they're leading the way, not by much, but they. Oh, wow. Okay. So Cincinnati, you've got 2 games in hand on them and are only 2 points behind them. So Cincinnati are actually doing incredibly well again this year. But yeah, you look at it and you think, Miami, we could actually beat them. Cincinnati, that would be a tough one. New York City, I feel like we should be able to beat them, especially at home. New York Red Bulls, it's been tough for them. Charlotte, we should be beating. Toronto, we know we can beat them. Columbus, yeah. Philadelphia, pretty much a bogey team of one of ours at the moment. Nashville, yep. Orlando, Montreal, Atlanta, Chicago, New England. You look at that, you think, is there genuinely many of those teams that we can't beat? And I'll be hard pressed to find anyone who wouldn't say, no, I don't think there's any of those teams that we can't beat. And that's a lovely, lovely place to be compared to where we were 2 or 3 years ago. We'd be like, this team just hasn't got it. But I think our weak points at the moment is our lack of depth right now. When you're coming into a game and you're scraping together 4 outfield players for the bench, it's not good. It's not a great place to be. I don't know how that's happened and how our depth is just so bad. I mean, there is definitely reasons. The previous people in charge of recruitment has led to it. But yeah, it's just kind of like I'm just looking on MLSsoccer.com. Apparently, Jose, according to the website, is out with a season-ending injury. Yeah. But Connor Antley isn't. I think they've got that on the wrong player. Where is Connor Antley? There he is at the top. Yeah, apparently he's not injured. I think they've got that wrong. That shows how much you can't trust that website then. And designated players. Yeah, they've really... Yeah, Matti Peltola is not even listed down as a young DP. Something happened? And we don't know? Oh. Have we just found something out, ladies and gentlemen? And everyone in between. Have we just found out that Matti Peltola is no longer a designated player? I'm just going to do a quick just double check that we signed him as a young DP. Signs as a young designated player after acquiring discovery priority from Minnesota United for $50,000 in GAM. The discovery process. Absolute joke. 4-year contract through 2027 with an option for 2028. Just having a quick read more. But yeah, definitely a young DP. And that is on our website. But it's not under MLSsoccer.com anymore. I wonder whether that's going to come out in the next few days, maybe then. Oh, we've bought them down. That would be good. That would free up a good amount of space for a new big player. Sure, we're not going to get Mbappe now, but as Victor said in the chat, that would have been good. But Marco Reus, no, he's in talks with different MLS teams. Kevin De Bruyne, no, he's available. We'll see. Would you take Kevin De Bruyne right now as a DP? Interesting. I think I would. That would be a lot of fun. De Bruyne to Benteke, the Belgian duo. That would be nice. That would be very nice. Oh, could you? Oh, yeah. That would be a beautiful, beautiful duet. Anyway, let's go back to where we were. So yes, so that was that. And then the other thing that we had going on was about a point of discussion in the chat, in the DCUK chat, about the situation with Bamba. And since he's come back into the team, we've not actually won any games yet. Apparently, it looks like we seem a little bit less confident because he's guessing that he's a bit older. We have this huge pressing style. He just doesn't seem to have the legs for it. He went off after 45 minutes against Toronto at halftime. So are we less confident with him on the pitch? Great leader, but are we less confident in the defensive side of things? He gets brought on against New Jersey Pink Cows, and we then concede 3 goals. And you can see that against Toronto, he wasn't closing down. He was trying to cover, and when you look at the likes of Bartlett, and you look at Tubbs as well. I know Tubbs was brought out of position, but he went to press. You look at Bartlett, he goes up, presses, wins the headers. Birnbaum, and again, we get a thumbs up for some random reason on the screen. We just haven't seen that from him. Can we convince Birnbaum to move into a coaching role? And that's a great point that I was going to actually come on to, Victor. That is something I'd be keen to see him actually do. It's something actually me and Stu talked about when we were discussing this particular point last week. His leadership qualities strike me as the kind of guy who would be a great coach. And whether that's with the first team, I don't think that would be the right place for him. I think in the academy, bringing on the youth, showcasing that experience that he's had, and potentially even looking at, we've got this Pathway to Pro program, being involved in that, I think that would be something that would be great. Imagine those young kids coming in, club captain, being with the club all his career, and He's there to teach them how to play football and how to head it, how to get involved in the tackles and the tactical side of things. That would be amazing. A guy who's played on the international stage as well. Yeah, I, I as a kid, I would absolutely love that, and I think we're getting to the point now. He's how old is he now? It's going to depress me because he's going to be younger than me. He's 33 years old. Yes, he is younger than me, but we're now getting to the point where he's at that stage of his career where he's as unfortunate as it is, and as sentimental as I would love to be. He's just that at that point in his career where he's no longer a top level player anymore. It'd be great, I think, if he was at a USL team, a USL Championship team, but I just don't think he's got it in him to be playing at the MLS level anymore. When we look at what happened with Bill Hamid, he was great for us, but the injuries and what was happening, we tried to hang on to him for too long. And you look at where he is now. He's just he's not with the club. And that's really sad. And I would love to see him at a club. And I think he could still do a decent job at a club. Not a top level club, but I think he could still do a job at a decent team. But I think he stayed with us for far too long. He shouldn't have gone to FC Midtjylland in Denmark. As great experience as that was for him, he didn't really get a lot of game time whilst he was out there. So that kind of hindered his progress. And I think he might have stayed a season or two longer with us. Potentially would have got another offer in Europe. And, hindsight's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, I think we're now at the point where bam, great club captain. He's had a really good career. But I think it's time to potentially start looking at him being replaced. And to be fair, Garrison Tubbs, apart from actually being pulled out of position, if you can work on that and make that right and improve his decision-making skills, I think we've actually got a pretty good player on hands. He reminds me a bit of Donny Pines, a little bit. Not quite as gangly, but he reminds me a little bit of Donny Pines in the way he plays. So, and the way he played towards before he signed for Barnsley. Pines, I really enjoyed watching him play. So, there is that. So, yeah, for me, I think we are now at the point where we need to potentially move on from Birnbaum and sunset his career with DC United and let him move on and enjoy what he's got left in his career, because it is a short-lived career, football, on the professional level, playing. I think he would be a good coach and possibly a really good head coach as well. We'll see. But yeah, that's it from me this week. It's been lovely hour talking with you guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. As mentioned, please do go and check out the Pitch Invaders website and get yourself some cool clothing. 15% off using the code DCUK. Don't forget, we've got the other sponsors as well. We got Wilds, the lovely deodorant as well. I know it's weird to say that, but it's actually good. It smells good. And it's good for the environment as well. So don't forget, you've got that option there. And you get yourself some discount on that as well. There's a link, again, in the description. And if you're not a member of DCUK and you are on Twitter and you want to join in the chat, then please do. Again, link in the description. It's completely free to do so. And if you want to buy some merch, this is the last bit of the sales pitch, like this. And hoodies, we've got hats, stickers. I know people love a good sticker, holographic ones this time. DCUnitingdom.com/DCUK store. Again, that should be in the description. Head over there and pick up some quality merch. It's awesome. So yeah, I really wish it didn't have to end this week, but it's been good to be back behind the microphone, doing what I do and doing what I love. And yeah, I will see you all soon. I will hopefully let's have a quick look at the fixture list before we do wrap things up. There we go. Schedule. When's our next game? Our next game is against Charlotte on the 16th of June. So we may expect to see a short episode coming out just before then. I'll see if I can speak to anyone from the Charlotte side. We'll get them on the show. Followed by Atlanta midweek, and then Houston Dynamo on the 23rd. And then the New Jersey Pink Cows at the end of the month. So we've got a busy month ahead, even with an international break. It's going to be a good month. We then have July, and then we have that flipping tournament that nobody really ever wanted. It's just a money-making scheme in the Leagues Cup. Not sure if I'll provide any coverage for that because I'm just completely beep off with it. So yes, that's it from me this week. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, Vamos United.